not only English, but I could read in French and in Swedish. So I was getting a very different picture. And when I repatriated, I didn't recognize the country. It just wasn't the same thing that I thought it was. And the way news is being reported had changed drastically. There was a lot more with IT. Newsprint was being threatened, and we'll talk about that today. So there was a lot of changes. And then there was this interesting link, again with journalism, that in 1939, the FAWCO conference was in London, and Joe Kennedy was the ambassador then, and Rose Kennedy was the guest of honor of the conference and hosted a tea. Well, we searched the London archives. I realize I got my little blue earring going here, sorry. And what we found was the Christian Science Monitor covered the conference because the FAWCO president back then came from the Boston area. Not only did the Monitor cover it, but there was a live worldwide broadcast by shortwave from the University Club, which is just down the street here. And the shortwave station later became WBUR. So it's all these interconnecting circles that make this journalism panel, I think, something that's pretty special. So I'd like now to introduce our four panelists. Clayton Jones, you can figure out which one he is. Our token male. He's been a journalist for more than 35 years, working in print, television, radio, and lately the web. He's currently in charge of the commentary section of the Christian Science Monitor, a news publication based in Boston that has both a website and a weekly news magazine. He has reported worldwide, including 5 years in Washington and 8 years in Asia. So I like it because he's been an expat also. And he was based in Tokyo and Manila. During his stint as the Monitor's foreign editor, the newspaper received a Pulitzer Prize for international reporting. Now, we have to put a little aside in here, okay, because there's another connection. Our Boston Metropolitan Coordinator, Barbara Santoro, has a daughter named Laura, who just happened to work for Clay Jones as a foreign correspondent, and Laura wrote this wonderful, wonderful book called Mercy. Can we say it's thinly disguised fiction? And I have read this 3 times. I've cried 3 times at the end. The 3rd time I said, "Why are you crying? You've already read it 3 times." But it really moved me. So I'm going to read just a little passage here about somebody in the book named Warren, written by the main character, the protagonist, who just happens to be a newspaper reporter based in Africa. And the character on her is saying, "The truth, never confessed of course, was that I had feelings for Warren, that despite my own abruptness on the telephone, I liked him. His news judgment was infallible, his integrity cold and clean. A cheap story disgusted him, it offended him, and while it did not make him mad, nothing made Warren mad. It deepened the chill in his voice to freezing point. A good story had the opposite effect." So by Mercy, it's a great book, and Barbara and Lara and Clay will all be very happy that you did that. So, that's kind of a neat little connection. Renee Loth is a columnist and former editor of the Boston Globe. She was a columnist for the opinion pages in the Globe for many, many years, and the former editor of the Globe's editorial page. In that capacity, she was, for 9 years, the highest-ranking woman at the Globe. In her distinguished journalism career, Loth has worked in a variety of high-visibility assignments at Globe, including political editor, Mass State House bureau reporter, magazine writer, and deputy editorial page director. In 1992, she covered the presidential campaign, inaugurating the popular Ad Watch column, analyzing TV political ads. Before the Globe, she was a political reporter for Boston area weekly newspapers and magazines, and got her start as editor of a bi-weekly advocacy newspaper called the East Boston Community News. Renee has been the recipient of several awards and honors and is a frequent moderator and contributor to local and national news analysis programs and panels. She's been an undergraduate study group leader at Harvard's Kennedy School of Government and a fellow at the Radcliffe Institute for Public Policy. In 2002, she received a Distinguished Alumni Award from, here's my Boston R missing award, did you hear that? From Boston University, where she earned her journalism degree. Renee is a member of the Massachusetts Women's Forum and also serves on the board of PEN/New England, which promotes literacy and free expression worldwide. She's married to the jazz pianist Bert Seeger and lives in Boston. And as an aside, her son has been working in Haiti since before the earthquake, trying to teach Haitians about building environmentally sound structures. And if you're addicted to the International Herald Tribune, Renee has a column there on a fairly regular basis, carried through the New York Times wire service. Damage in my hand, so everything shakes. Kelly Niknajad is editor-in-chief of the Tehran Bureau. She's the founder also, and this is an online news magazine. She has 2 master's degrees in journalism from Columbia University, the first with an emphasis in print, and the second specializing in politics and government. As a journalist, she has worked for the Los Angeles Times, Time Magazine, ABC News, and PBS Frontline. Kelly was born in Iran and moved to the United States in 1984 to continue her studies during the Iran-Iraq War. She studied law at the University of San Diego Law School and has been admitted to the practice of law in California and before the United States District Court for the Central District of California. She also serves on the board of the Arab and Middle Eastern Journalists Association, and we're very happy to have her here today. And finally, the 2-year courtship with Robin Young. We've been corresponding so long, it seems kind of funny in hindsight. Robin's first comment was, "You do realize this is 2 years from now." Robin is a Peabody Award-winning host of Public Radio International's news magazine called Here and Now. During her 25 years of broadcast experience, she's reported for NBC, CBS, and ABC television. And for several years, she was a substitute host and correspondent for the Today Show. She's received several Emmy Awards for her television work, as well as cable's ACE Award, the Religious Public Relations Council's Wilbur Award, and the National Conference of Christians and Jews Gold Award. She has also received radio's regional Edward R. Murrow Award. Now, one of the things that I thought was, because even though the majority of people here are American, many of you probably are not familiar with the organizations that our panel represents. So I thought we would start by having each one of them just give you a quick summary view of what their paper is, what its importance is, maybe what transitions have been happening recently, because there's a lot of changes in America in terms of journalism right now. So Renee, could we start with you?
Yes, well, thank you, and welcome to Boston, everybody. You know, I think this is really an excellent audience.